Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday, it's December 10th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And you can see on our daily chart, we had some follow through selling today. It was mostly a range day, but we broke out and traded down. We really had two legs down, the second leg being a much bigger leg. And then we found, it seems we found the bottom, and we recovered some of it, not a lot, but it was not a huge move, but it was a pretty good sell off at the time, but it did find a bottom and recover somewhat. So I think it'll make a little more sense when you see it on the daily chart, or I'm sorry, the 2000 tick chart. So we'll flip over there and take a look, and we'll go from there. Okay, here's our 2000 tick chart. You can see we were in this trading range. We broke out the top, failed. Came down here, we broke out the bottom. Looked like we were going to fail. Of course, prices always attempt to reverse back. Sometimes, most of the time, they're going to be successful and go back in. Sometimes they fail. This time, the failed breakout reversed and continued lower. And so there's a couple of different ways you want to look at it here. First of all, look for a measured move based on this first leg down, and the second leg started here. And if we continue on from there, look for a measured move based on the width of this range, which is this dash line down here. And you can see we blew through both. We ended up, you can see that kind of acted as support and resistance there for a little while, and then we reversed back higher before the close. So market is closed now, and we closed almost on the high of that rally. So and notice where we rallied back to, where that measured leg was originally. Um, that's probably not a coincidence. So you can see as we broke through this support resistance down here, or the measured move, that it kind of tested that line on both sides a few times before finally going higher. And that's kind of how prices will do. If they overshoot something like a target like this, they'll usually come back to it. When they overshoot in here, they come back to it. Same thing. So you'll see that over and over. But yeah, this two measured legs, we just blew through that. So then your next target's this measured move based on the width of the original width of the range for the day, overnight period or whatever. So uh, that's how I saw it. Right, you can see again mostly sideways until early afternoon, and then we had that sell off. But we took most of it back, not all of it, but most of it. We came, we missed getting back into the range by probably 6, 7 points, something like that. So there were no news items today, so um, nothing to really spook or hit the market or anything like that. So, uh, but anyway, that's how I saw it today. So let's zoom in here. We'll take a look at the trades and go through them. It was a fairly decent morning, but well, I guess still, this was a really good move down, and you just didn't get a chance to enter it, unfortunately. So I would say that up until about 2 o'clock, the trading was pretty good. 1 o'clock maybe, 1:45, 2 o'clock, and then you just didn't get an opportunity for anything else after that. The bottom just kind of fell out, and there wasn't much opportunity to enter it. But anyway, when we came in this morning, 7 o'clock came just as we're kind of rounding this corner right here, topping out. And you can see the trend up. We had this big shoot up, close outside, couple of legs up, and then we turned back down. And then we got a trend down, and now you're working down. You get a close outside, move to a new low, and this was a second entry long. It's not a perfect signal bar. I think that probably closes in the upper 1/3. It's close. Um, but yeah, you would expect prices to shoot higher again, and you may make a measured leg like this one. So it's worth possibly trying to get in on that trade, because if you don't get in there, you miss this whole thing. So maybe you enter there. Um, this is actually, I did not draw it here, but this is actually a whole new trend. So let me draw this. Make sure it's clear to everybody. This is actually a new trend. Again, you got to close outside, move to a new high, and you don't get a signal bar there. And drops down, close outside, move to a new low. You don't get really a setup here, but you do get a higher low, and that certainly closes an upper one there. I think you can go long there. It's tempting to go long here on the, let me zoom in a little more, but there's a lot of stem there. I don't think you want to enter that on the engulfing bar. This is not really looking like super rejection, but you do get a triple test here, and the problem is you can't enter that on the engulfing bar. Then you got too much stem, and you're right at the EMA. So I think if you didn't enter here on the higher low, you have to skip this one. So it turns out to be a great move. Again, you get a close outside, and you just don't get a really good opportunity. Now, you may enter here. This one you could argue to be green. There's actually what I would call, there's not much space between them. But notice we're trending up, and then we opened here and turned down and then turned back up again. So that's really a second attempt and then a third attempt. I like to see some space between the bars to really count them. So I think you're pushing it on that one. But you do have a triple top there, matching highs. So maybe you, in a big bearish bar, so maybe you take that. It is a little aggressive. And then, of course, this is all just congestion here. I don't see anything I like. Of course, that's a good signal bar, but we're just going sideways. That's just congestion. So just sit tight, and you don't really get a chance to enter this on the way back up. There's a higher low here, but this is your signal bar, so you can't go long there. But you do get a close outside in first entry, second entry, and you move to a new high. You are outside the range, and you do make a new high, so you're probably better off to wait on the lower high. You could go short there. It might fail, though. I showed you one yesterday that failed like that. So, of course, we do have the close outside new high. So I like this one better than the one yesterday because we were still inside the channel working up, and that was one reason I didn't like that one. I might take this trade here, to be honest with you, but it's risky because it made a new high. But we do have a 2-bar matching high. The bar is 4 ticks, very small risk if you are wrong. So that's the kind you like. You do get a lower high here, though, with much less risk, and it's a quick, easy move. And then notice you've got a 1, 2, 3 quadruple test here. Your triple test actually came over here. We already talked about that. And then you get another test here with a good signal bar. I like going long there again. And once again, we shoot up and we make a new high here. And you get your close outside, first entry, second entry. Since we came back and tested this twice and you get a second entry long with a good signal bar and it closes outside the range, I think you'll probably retest that high even if you're going to fail and turn down. So I like going long there. A lot of times you want to see a triple test like way over here, but you can tell here this is played out. So this could end up being a lower high. It's not really good enough to go. I mean, you could have gone long there, but I think you got to wait. Most of your move is like right into here, and all the way up, there's not quite enough room. So the odds are you're not going to make a new high there. It's going to fail and turn back down, and that's what happens. And so you turn back down, and here you have 2 legs back to the EMA. Tries to test the top, but you could argue there's a triple test there as well. But really, you got a lower double top there. It looks like 2 legs back to the EMA. It's right off the key entry point. I like this one. Definitely closes in the lower 130. It's not a perfect signal bar, but it's close enough. And again, the bottom falls out. Comes back. You just get a first entry here. There's no break in new high of the channel or anything. That does confirm this trend line if it goes lower, which it does. Down here in the middle, I wouldn't be trying to pick any bottoms or anything, especially if this is a spike and channel down, which it turns out to be. We come back here. That's just a first entry. It's not back to the trend line either. And then this is all too choppy. Don't try to enter in that stuff. It's just choppy slop. There's a second entry here, but it's an inside bar. Signal bar is no good. And then finally we get a break. That's just a first entry. You do get a close outside and new high all in one bar here, but I think I would wait and see if you get a lower high. It looked like we were going to get one, but we don't. And it's tempting to take this trap to the upside, but it also looks a little sideways here. So I just sit tight, and then we end up getting the break and two legs up to a new high. And look at that big bearish bar. That's where you want to go short as we run down to make a new low. And that bar's 9 ticks. It looks big for today because the average ATR was less than 6, but that's really a decent signal bar. And you do make your new low here. It's tempting to go long there, but there's not much room back to the EMA. And on this reversal, you want to try to ride it back to the EMA, not get long right into it, or either wait till it tests from the other side, and it does here, but you only get a first entry, and you've already got a close outside. It does run to a new high, makes a new low right here, and then it tries to go higher 2 more times and makes a double top. So you got a double top, then a lower double top, and a nice signal bar. I like going short there. So you could argue there's a hidden second entry there as well. And this thing finally takes off lower. Then we find some support down here where this last low was, and you get at least a triple test here on across here, and you get a 2-bar matching low or a double bottom. Good signal bar. I like just trying to ride that back to the EMA. Maybe you get more out of it. I don't think you'd have got a runner, but it does end up going a good bit higher. No chance to get short. This does confirm that trend line right across there, but no chance to get short there. Drops on down, first close outside, which we actually get a failed breakout here, so watch to see if you get a setup to trade back into the range. You get a close outside, a couple of moves to a new low, then you make a double bottom with a nice signal bar, still way away from the EMA. I'm going to take that one most times on that high or low. If you had a better signal bar here, maybe you say, okay, let's risk trying to get long early, but I'd wait on a higher low here. We're in a downtrend. But we did just have a failed breakout, and you expect it to fail, even if it just comes back to test the breakout area and hold and then go lower. Usually this doesn't hold and it'll get back in the trading range, but it didn't today. It held. So, but you can still expect to ride it back. And you actually get a second entry short here, but I think you got to have another test of it because that's just really, I'd call that, there's not any space in there. But the best, you got a double test of it. But I'd want a triple test, and by the time you get that out here, you don't get a signal bar, and the bottom just falls out. I can't remember if I talked about that one or not. Yeah, that was your triple test. And again, you're just trying to get a move back to the EMA. I don't think I would enter this one here long. I think you'd have to enter this one on the engulfing bar. That's why I made it green. And most of you should be skipping engulfing bars anyway. This is a little more advanced for more advanced traders, and I know most of you won't listen to that, and you'll try to trade them anyway. But stay away from those. They're more advanced, and you really need to know what you're doing. So that's why I made it green there. It's not even a perfect trade if you know what you're doing. But that led to this last trend down, and these are all just first entries all the way down. I don't see anything else here that I think would be worth risking, especially getting this late in the daytime. So that takes you into 230. Now, you did get a nice 2 legs back here with a nice short and a nice lower high too, but it's way too late to be trading then. And we actually end up reversing and going the other way. Notice that we did get an overshoot of this yellow channel, so we didn't get a retest of the low, and we just broke out of this blue channel and never got a retest of it, but we ran out of time. So again, we were originally looking for 2 measured legs down. When we went on past that, we're looking for a measured move equal to the width of the range. And if you go on past that, you start looking for previous support, and and there it is right there. And you see that is really close to where we bounced there. So anyway, there it is. That's how I saw it today. Um, I mean, we spent the majority of the day in a range, and maybe the last, I'd say we broke out of here at what, a little after 1 o'clock. So the last 3 hours we spent making a new low and then bouncing and recovering maybe 2/3 of that. So, uh, but yeah, not much else you can say about today. It's you just had to play this range and the trends within it, and then these other trends later in the day. So, and there just wasn't much out here later in the day. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.